Yo everybody, welcome back to the YouTube channel on the journey to be the fittest dad on earth. And we have a very special and important video for you guys today. So if you haven't liked or subscribed, please do. Tell your mother, your brother, your sister, your aunt, your uncle. Tell everybody, because we have some big aspirations and dreams for this channel and as a whole, and it all starts with you guys. Here we go, hit it. Frequency.
Welcome to episode 119 of Next Level Radio.
Today we have a very special video that's going to give you behind the scenes as we go through our stem cell procedures and from our injury to our recovery. May 11th in this video right here, I hurt my back doing a very sub-maximal or a lighter warm-up weight deadlift. I've never hurt my back. I've played college football, I had 3 shoulder surgeries, a knee surgery, but I've never had back pain. And if you behind the camera know how bad back pain is, it's the worst pain that there is. We are going to be heading to the Dakota Stem Cell Institute with Dr. Pierce in Rapid City, South Dakota, as he believes and knows and has the research that this can really help with what I'm trying to do. We have big dreams and aspirations with our marathons, our Spartan races, our triathlons, everything in between, and this is where it starts. We've got to a point where we can still lift very, very heavy, but we just can't run. So you're gonna come along with us from now throughout the procedure, and we're going to give you guys the tips and tricks on how to recover properly from injuries. This is training injuries, this is any type of injury. So today you're gonna learn exactly how we recovered and exactly the steps we're taking so that we can be the fittest dad on earth, and you're coming along with us. We're gonna head to Rapid City.
You wanna go for a ride? Come here. Let's go for a ride. You wanna go for a ride? Come on, let's go. Let's go, let's go, come on.
We're gonna be needing these and this.
Are you ready to go?
We are back in the beautiful Black Hills of South Dakota at our Airbnb, and holy shit, we got about 2 feet of snow, ladies and gents, on our hands here. It's gonna be a fun one, huh, Coda? Huh, Coda Bear? Good golly. When South Dakota says they get 2 feet of snow, they get 2 feet of snow. We're at our Airbnb. We're getting ready for our stem cell injection tomorrow. We're sweeping snow today, shoveling snow today, boys. Holy guacamole. Get it, Coda. Get it, go. Oh my goodness. And I am reminded every single time we come here why we bought it and why we love it so much, even though we got 2 feet of snow. And so tomorrow at 10 a.m., we have our stem cell injections. The stem cells very basically have got very popular both in the US and outside the US with differing regulations on either side, right? And in the United States, we can only take stem cells from the host themselves. So I can only harvest stem cells for myself. And in the United States, we also cannot multiply the stem cells. However, what the research shows is the multiplication of stem cells is actually not showing significant improvements in health outcomes. So actually getting the stem cells from your body, implementing them in without the count of multiplication is not showing any big difference in health outcomes. So we decided to go to Dakota Stem Cell Institute, which is in Rapid City, with Dr. Pierce for a couple reasons. Number one, the proximity to home. Number two, Dr. Pierce has been practicing medicine for over 30 years, and he has had his stem cell clinic for coming up on 10, doing a lot of high-level athletes, a lot of general population, and people with the same issues that I've had. Very basically, the Dakota Stem Cell Institute and Dr. Pierce himself will be taking a very, very minimalistic approach, but also minimally invasive approach to the stem cell injection. So what they'll do is they'll take, and this is very rough details, but they'll take a mini liposuction, they'll take adipose tissue. And once they take that adipose tissue, they will be spinning it down, getting it to the stem cells needed to heal my injury. After that about hour-and-a-half process, we'll go get some lunch, we'll come back, and then they will start the injection. So they'll have a very localized anesthetic just for the pain, and then we will inject it back into the spine, right around the SI joint where I'm having the symptoms. With stem cells, they are able to track into inflammation. So where is my problem? And it can find that and help generate tissue. The beautiful thing about adipose tissue stem cells is you're going to have a much higher quantity of stem cells in that application as compared to the bone marrow. Also, Dr. Pierce talked about with bone marrow stem cells. The bone marrow really wants to create more bone marrow and more blood vessels, right? So they actually want to really focus on creating more blood vessels. That is not my problem. My problem is I have localized pain in my hip and SI joint with no radiation down the leg. And so what we're trying to do is heal tendons, heal ligaments, and really heal that bony structure so that I can have the space needed in my back so that we can get back to the best thing in the world, and that is running. Good morning, y'all. It is now December 30th. It is Saturday, the day of our stem cell injection. I got 6 hours and 18 minutes of sleep. We stayed up late doing a podcast that releases today, Next Level Radio 119 with Coach Pete Stanton. Coach Pete Stanton was the gentleman that saved my life from heroin addiction, from pain medication addiction. He was my head football coach. And that man absolutely saved my life in the lowest of lows where I had nowhere to turn, being homeless on a college football team. I called my coach. I didn't call my mom. I didn't call my dad. I didn't call my sisters, my brothers. I called my coach. And that gentleman, I owe my life to. He saved my life. It was the literal focal point of my life. Without that moment, I wouldn't be a father. I wouldn't be a husband, a business owner, a podcast host, or sitting in front of this camera. I would be 100% dead because we were reckless. So we're gonna get ready for the stem cell injection. It's about an hour drive in the beautiful Black Hills. And we're gonna get this podcast published. We're gonna get another YouTube video from last week published. And then we're gonna hit the road, Dakota and I, and go get our stem cell injection. A little bit of background, it'll take about an hour and a half for us to get into the clinic, and then about an hour and a half to actually spin the stem cells. As we talked about, this is my first bout with true back pain, knowing that there's something wrong in the back. And if you've dealt with that, you know how debilitating any type of pain, but there's nothing truly like back pain. And so here's a couple tricks that we have used that have kept this injury at bay, allowed us to continue training, and then get us ready for our marathons, our Spartan races, and everything in between as we get this stem cell procedure. And number one is Western medicine is great, but it's not always the answer. Western medicine is not always the answer. When we look at Western medicine, we are just managing disease. We're just managing symptoms. Your back hurts, here's a medication. Your back hurts, here's your surgery. That is not always the answer, and most of the time is never the answer. Number two, get a second opinion. In my specific case, I had an X-ray and an MRI done with one of my favorite family doctors. The family doctor said that he could see nothing on the MRI. There was nothing wrong. There was no fractures. There was no narrowing of the spine. There was really nothing wrong. So we went and got a second opinion by two different companies. Rejuve Medical Clinic in St. Cloud area in Minneapolis, and the Dakota Stem Cell Institute with Dr. Pierce. When they looked at it, there is a very little narrowing of the spine into the SI joint, and there's some inflammation and irritation in the SI joint. That is exactly where I'm having my pain, very localized to that joint. And so if you have any type of injury, make sure to always get a second opinion. Number 3, exhaust your toolbox. What I mean by this is try everything that you can. This brings us back to number 1. Western medicine is great, but it's not always the answer. If Western medicine says, hey, here's your pain meds or here's your surgery, turn around and run the other way and go to a great chiropractic clinic. So we can look at different modalities such as red light therapy. You really want to focus on consistency when you're looking at this, but another great modality is deep tissue laser. Laser treatment at my chiropractic clinic, they have a class 3 laser, which allows it to penetrate not only the bone, but the cellular structures of the bones, the muscles, the tendons, and the ligaments. This is going to excite the surrounding tissues, causing more blood flow, causing increased rate of healing. You can also look at chiropractic adjustment, which is not an end-all be-all, but it can be a tool in your toolbox. And then we also tried deep tissue massage by my friend and co-owner of the Iron Chapel, Josh Carey. This is something that as a whole, if we can get a wide spectrum of tools, this is going to give us our best outcome down the road. And number 4, do not be afraid to try something new. Obviously, the traditional modalities you've used have not worked to this point, so it's time to think outside the box. As humans, we are creatures of habit and we tend to go to what we know or what is comfortable. And for me, that was a traditional doctor, your family practice doctor, get your answer and move on. But instead, I looked outside the box and thought outside the box, and the Dakota Stem Cell Institute came up. As an educated athlete and consumer, I did my research. I looked at what health outcomes we are to expect with this procedure, and the research is very conclusive. Stem cells are highly effective, but the research is being suppressed by big pharma companies and the government. It is being suppressed like crazy. And so a great resource for you is right here. Joe Rogan Podcast 2079 with Brigham Bueller. Brigham Bueller owns another clinic very similar to Dakota Stem Cell Institute. It's called Ways to Well. It's in Austin, Texas, and over a ton of different states. These guys are all about regenerative medicine, and they talk about the red tape that the government agencies and all big pharma companies make for these regenerative clinics to even operate. But if you look through the smokescreen, if you look through all the red tape, stem cells are super effective for very specific injuries such as this. So always look outside the box. Don't take your first opinion as gold, and I promise you will have better health outcomes than going with your traditional type of treatment. And we talked about it a little bit, but the difference between the bone marrow extraction in this, obviously, more cells in the fat.
More cells in the fat, bigger pool. I get everything I need out of one hole without drilling 6 holes in the top of your pelvic bone, which is about average of what it takes them to get enough cells. The other thing is, these cells are actually probably more closer to pure stem cells. The cells in your bone marrow have probably gone through at least 2 steps of differentiation already.
Okay.
Because they're there to make red blood cells, white blood cells, platelets. That all comes out of your marrow.
Is that done?
Done deal.
Awesome.
This is what you look like.
Holy shit. Pardon my language.
Those clumps of stuff in there, that's the fat and all the
Dear God.
cells.
Dear God. All right, so the extraction process is done. Part 1 of 2 is completely done. They take out the fat cells, as you guys saw. I will not be watching the footage because I'm such a wuss when it comes to this stuff. Needles, procedures, I can't do it. I can't do it. Thank the good Lord above that it was on my back and nowhere else I could see. I'd have passed out, hands down. So we had to wait an hour and a half. We took Dakota for a walk, hanging out, go get some food, and now we're going for the re-injection process. They're going to inject it back into the spine, off the spine towards the right hip, and then the procedure's done. The extraction portion is the hardest part. They have to make that little incision, use the catheter, and actually harvest all those cells. But the hard part's done. We're gonna go back in with Dr. Pierce. You're gonna get to hear from him, hear about his experience, hear about everything, finish up the procedure, and then we're back on the road, back to the Airbnb, going to get some lunch with my stepfather and his girlfriend, and life is good, ladies and gents. As we talked about just a couple minutes ago, go outside of your comfort zone. If you're trying traditional medicine and it's not working, do your research, look elsewhere, find something that is going to fit what your needs are with the injuries that you have. And I think you're gonna be a much better off than just trusting what you've done your whole life. So we're heading back into the clinic. We will see you guys on the other side. Fittest Dad on Earth, out. That wasn't too bad at all. All right, ladies and gents, we are about 2 hours out from the stem cell injection. The numbingness has wore off, the little bit of achiness is still there, but overall, there's zero pain. I have a massive bandage on the back, and this bandage just keeps it sterile. We have a whole procedure and a whole protocol for post-operation. No baths, no still water. You can take showers, keep it clean, all that stuff. But the magic with this stem cells as we go through is going to happen over a 1 to 2 month period. As these stem cells are like heat-seeking missiles, they go straight towards inflammation. So the doctor actually recommends that you take 0 anti-inflammatories for 5 days after the procedure, because taking the anti-inflammatories makes the stem cells less effective because there's less inflammation, which is a healing response. And so we want to keep some inflammation there. We talk about inflammation as a health marker. So the doctor says is he actually wants me to be active, get healthy amounts of inflammation in that low back so that we can have those stem cells start going where they need to go. I'm telling you guys that over the next 1 to 2 months, we'll keep you guys updated on how everything's going, but I'm telling you guys, go outside your wheelhouse, get a second opinion, exhaust all measures before you go do something very, very permanent for your health. This is the first step. As you saw, we were injured May 11th. This is the first step of getting back into the journey to be the fittest dad on earth. We've been strength training hard. We've been doing zone 2 aerobic work very, very hard, but it's time to start getting some miles in. We will be announcing our race schedule for the next year, just giving you a little hint. We have a marathon in Montana, and we have a very long, that's all I'm gonna say, a very long Spartan race on the schedule with much smaller ones sprinkled here and there. So this is the journey to be the fittest dad on earth. This is what you have to do all the time so that you can stay on top of it, be physically the best version of yourself, mentally the best version of yourself, and be the best version of you for you and your family. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already. It helps so much more than you guys think. We have great dreams and aspirations, and hopefully bringing you guys more educational content like this so that you can be the best version of yourself. The Fittest Dad on Earth and Dakota are heading back to North Dakota. We are out.